by Steve King, who's a lot of people say is a racist, right? And so he got it, but he was a sitting congressman for forever. I wonder if he still is a congressman.
Was he Islamophobic? Was his racism?
Maybe that was it. But is Steve King still? Is he still a congressman? Let's Google that. Hey, Suri, is Steve King still a congressman from Iowa?
Yeah, I thought he was out.
Is an American foreign politician, minister who served until 2021. So he endorsed Vivek, and so this is what they asked him. This is what the reporter asked him when he got endorsed by a former congressman who was a congressman, by the way. Let's see how. Hey, Suri, how long was Steve King a congressman from Iowa? From 2000, so 18 years. He was a congressman for almost 2 decades. And so let's listen to this stupid question he gets asked. Turn it up. Ready? You condemn.
I mean, what this kind?
Do you condemn? This was the question. Do you condemn white supremacy and white nationalism?
I mean, what this kind? Who are you with? Which it's Washington Post. All right, so potato. Okay. Of course, I condemn any form of vicious racial discrimination in this country. But I think that the presumption of your question is fundamentally based on a falsehood that really is the main form of racial discrimination we see in this country today.
First of all, what did you expect him to say? No, ma'am, I'm the first Indian American guy running for president who also supports white supremacy.
I knew it had to happen sooner or later.
I bet if Nikki Haley was given the same question, she would blurt out slavery. So this is very much like that old Groucho Marx bit. Hey, when did you stop beating your wife? Yeah. This is very much like that. So, but I think he gets the right answer here.
Well, you know what? Swastikas are originally from India, so maybe that's what they mean.
Oh, okay.
I was in India in February. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
Are they?
Yeah, they are hardcore white supremacists out there.
Institutionalized racism is institutionalized racial discrimination that we see that doesn't come from somehow discriminating against people on the basis of some tenet of white supremacy. It's based on affirmative action. It's based on actually discriminating against people on the color of their skin in a way that's actually institutionalized today. Was there a point in our history, at points in our prior national history, where there have been vicious forms of anti-black or anti-brown discrimination throughout this country after the Civil War and otherwise? Yes. But you're looking in the rearview mirror and using that to pose a question today that is so far removed from what the reality is in America today. This myth of white supremacy, the closest you can find is Jussie Smollett, where you all were actually, speaking of trust in the media, jumping up and down over some false narrative. The best way you're able to find your best instance of white supremacy was a guy who was actually paying his other fellow people to be actually staging something that didn't happen. And so stop picking on this farce of some figment that exists at some infinitesimally small fringe of the American public today to open our eyes to the actual real threats that we face. And I think that it's frankly questions and framings like that that has caused the American public to lose all trust in the mainstream media, I'm sorry to say, for good reason.
Say that you condemn.
I'm not going to.
Did you? So they wouldn't let it go. So you didn't say that you condemned white supremacy. They said
because they want him.
Imagine all the thinking that's not going on in their brains.
Yeah. No, I know she's thinking. So Steve King got kicked out of something because in an interview in the New York Times, they claim he said, and I don't know, I'm trying to find the original quote, so I bet I'll find, he probably didn't say what they said. He goes, well, since when are those bad terms, white supremacy and white nash? That's how they portrayed it in New York Times, which he may or may not have said. Sounds like a good people on both sides job to me. So she's saying white supremacy because there's already been a hearing about Steve King if he loves white supremacy. So it's basically saying, do you denounce Steve King? Like,
yes.
So that's what they're thinking. It's just like a game, but he's smart to just say like what, because I would like to know how to define it.
I would like to know how people define that term.
Well,
go ahead.
The purpose of it when they promote these terms is to have a shorthand to rule you out of bounds.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
White supremacy, it's the way they use right wing. It's the way Green Day's using MAGA.
Conspiracy theory.
Conspiracy theory. It's just another catch-all phrase to tell the non-player characters who swallow any narrative, they feed them what they're supposed to think without having to explain anything.
You ever try to figure out what the hell patriarchy means? Because there's really no set. It's a lot like woman. There's literally no definition. We'll never. It's the Illuminati for girls, is what I call it. But you try to find a definition.
So here he goes on to respond to this stupid follow-up question.
Recite some catechism for you. I'm not going to recite. Say that you condemn. I'm not going to recite some catechism for you. I'm against vicious racial discrimination in this country. So I'm not pledging allegiance to your new religion of modern wokeism, which absolutely fits the test. I'm not going to bend the knee to your religion. I'm sorry. I'm not asking you to bend the knee to mine, and I'm not going to bend the knee to yours. But do I condemn vicious racial discrimination? Yes, I do. Am I going to play your silly game of gotcha? No, I'm not. And frankly, this is why people have lost trust. And I know you're going to go print the headline tomorrow. I already know this. We already know how your game works. Vivek Ramaswamy refuses to condemn white supremacy because you asked a stupid question. The reality is, I condemn vicious racial discrimination in this country, but the kind of vicious and systematic racial discrimination we see today is discrimination on the basis of race in a very different direction. You want to know what the best way is to end discrimination on the basis of race? Stop discriminating on the basis of race. Do that, and we're going to move this country forward. And I don't care whether you're black or white or brown or anything in between. That's how we're going to unite this country. You people have been responsible for dividing this country to a breaking point, creating a projection of national division. I meet people from the south side of Chicago to meetings like this one of every shade of melanin, multiple, from man to woman, doesn't make a difference, who are hungry for reviving unity in this country. And you, with your catechism that you try to get to politicians to whatever fake headline you're going to print on the basis of this conversation tomorrow, that's what's dividing this country to a breaking point. Shame on you. Look people in the eye and tell them what you've actually failed to tell them for the last 5 years. Own the accountability for your own failures as the media. That's how we rebuild trust in this country. And until then, I don't have a lot of patience to play the games. What do you expect from?
Where's the lie?
Where's the lie?
So he said he loves white supremacy, is what I
That's
heard.
what he's saying.
Yeah.
No,
He's saying he loves it.
Didn't I joke at him on here that they're going to call him white supremacist?
Yes, we did joke. I go, have you been called a white supremacist yet?
They called Bernie an anti-Semite.
Yes, they did.
They don't have a limit because they know that their target audience is never going to apply critical thinking to anything that they tell
they're
them.
campaigning with you. It's the target audience believes it's their job to do the campaigning for you in their own small way. So it'd be as if you're the aide to Bernie who eventually gets disillusioned. You at home are supposed to be. So you have to not believe things like, no, our team, do you want our team to win or do you want to lose? You got to be on board. Like, I don't have to do the work of campaigning. You assholes do.
Right. Well, that's a peasant mentality.
Yeah,
it's
right.
the mindset of a peasant. Oh, how do I help the Lord today? How do I elevate him? And a lot of people,
you serve Elon of Musk, I serve Jeff of Bezos.
Exactly. And I get into that a lot with people. Actually, you say, hey man, so why do the wheels keep breaking off the Teslas? I just read this report. These people lose their minds. I get 7 paragraphs in the comments section about why Teslas are the best car ever made.
Well, they did go out of their way to smear those cars in a crazy way that I had no idea until I looked at it.
You know, somebody, I didn't get a chance to read it
It's
yet.
nuts. It's actually nuts.
Somebody sent me an article today saying Teslas are the safest cars in the world in China, but not in the U.S. And actually, that article did get into that China held them to a standard that the U.S. does not hold them to.
Well, the paper's talking about recalls. I found out none of them have been recalls.
No, they're not actually. Yeah. So I fell for that too.
Yeah.
So they said that Teslas all got recalled, right? And so they
I haven't seen.
They got I did. I reported it. It was the headline of my video. Tesla.
We did the story. You were with us. We did.
Yeah, you were actually with us
about people putting weights on the steering wheel to not steer it themselves.
Yeah.
You know, the autopilot.
The autopilot.
Right.
That's a beta, which wasn't in the article. Which you have to sign 20 things so you understand it's a beta, and you must pay attention. Right. There's no way to do it unless it's your fault.
And so they were just giving so a recall to me is when you drive your car back into the car dealership and they have to fix something.
Yeah.
But that's not what these recalls were.
The last electric car, they bash into a cube.
Yeah, the recalls were, they just gave you an update on your software in your car, and you didn't have to drive your car anywhere for them to do that. So That was misleading, and I felt I felt for it a little, and I think I misled people.
Well, Ford actually just had a major recall that they just announced today, because similar to actually what they were saying about Tesla in the Reuters article, they were saying like there are problems with the axle braking.
Oh, that's a real recall.
Yeah. Like they have a major recall right now.
Oh, okay.
Well, Reuters is another like NATO. You know, he's on a shit list for Twitter forever now with them. So like Reuters, AP, those are all the NATO owned. You know, like oh, you're a bad man.
You know,
like,
they claim AP is owned by a nonprofit. They claim that it's like this supposed to be this neutral thing. There's no fucking way.
A nonprofit, which by the way means a profit. When something called a nonprofit, it means a profit.
Yeah, somebody's profiting, but
a not-for-profit is no profit.
Well, in the arts world, they always tell you if you don't go not for profit, you're crazy. And if you argue, well, no, you know, I want to just go on my own, and I don't want to answer to anybody, they'll tell you, you don't have to. You just set up a puppet board, and you pay yourself whatever you want.
Yeah,
it's
right,
just you don't have to pay taxes.
Yeah, that's nonprofit. Yeah,
that's it. That's how it works. You got these people getting paid $500,000 running arts organizations that are bringing in donations and
just
grant
like the Catholic
money.
Church is not profit. You ever look at the buildings they own? Somebody's making some money. I'll tell you that.
They were the largest landholder in Manhattan for a very long
Yes.
time until they were surpassed by NYU.
Ah, another nonprofit.
Are they?
I don't know.
No, I think
What?
they're a private university.
What's up, Misha?
it's stuck on a shot of me. Yeah, it's weird. It should be on him while he's talking.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Hey, let me do that disclaimer. You could stick this on the video when you put it on YouTube. But of course, the vaccines, the COVID vaccines, are safe and effective, Kurt. And although they won't stop the transmission or contraction of the virus, they certainly will slow it.
And they slow the spread of white supremacy as well.
And they slow this. I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it. And they certainly keep you from being seriously ill, hospitalized, or dead. They're fantastic.
That was
Okay.
the real purpose of the vaccine. To stop
Stop white supremacy.
Yeah.
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 All right, let's go to a break. We'll be right back.
Hey, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there for more AM Joy and the rest of MSNBC. And click on any of the videos right here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. And you can get more videos from MSNBC for free every day with our newsletter. Just visit